are the New York Knicks. I'm back. Back in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. But this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, it's the New York Knicks podcast episode 402. I am Jay, and with me is Mark. We are part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network. What's going on?
Hey, Jay, were you a almighty baller before you joined the network?
I was.
Okay, cool. So if anyone, not that anyone's going to notice, but we're recording. This is the second show we recorded this week.
Mm-hmm.
We are adding a bonus episode, not behind some paid Patreon wall. It's just a bonus episode because we love the Knicks and we love you guys.
That's right. So we're doing a mini-sode, which means Mark's going to set the clock, and we're doing
Yes.
30 minutes. And
This
that's
is
it.
I am going to there is a podcast you should be listening to called The Dollop. It is amazing. It is two comedians doing stuff about historical events from weird events from history. Hilarious. They came up with something called Small Up, which is their shorter show, and we are copying that and doing a half-hour show today.
Right.
That,
So-
that explanation about it being shorter needed to be explained twice, right?
Yeah, I mean, we only have a half hour, so why not spend the first half of it explaining that the show is shorter?
I've yet to hit the clock, Jay. I'm going to hit the clock
Hit the
in
clock.
a second.
Hit the
I'm going
clock.
to take my time, talk for a couple hours, and hit the clock.
The whole point of the short show is to have a short show, so hit the clock.
Okay. So I'm going to start. Oh, yes. 1, 2,
Yeah, start
3.
the clock.
I'll start the clock when I feel like starting the clock, Jay.
This is
Start.
already the
I have a
worst
question
episode
for you,
we've
Jay.
ever done.
Yeah. Jay, should the Knicks fans out there. And by the way, the Knicks played the Cavaliers, lost to the Cavaliers, played the Jazz, had a great victory against the Jazz. We'll talk all about it. My question to you, Jay, is should all Knicks fans I mean, we don't actually have to thank him personally, but should we all be thankful for LeBron James a little bit at least?
Why? For putting
He gave us a stupid-ass issue to rally around and unite our team. And it basically last 3 years, we've had a poisonous locker room, infighting, and winning cures a lot of things. But either way, you need a locker room where everyone gets each other's back, a tight-knit unit. And I feel like LeBron, I don't know why he decided he needed to be the Knicks GM, the Knicks should have drafted Dennis Smith. Forgetting anything about Dennis Smith, I like Ntilikina, but I love the fact that Cantor got his back and the whole team rallied like they got his back, basically.
Yeah, a lot of respect to Cantor for stepping up, protecting his guy. A lot of respect for the rookie, standing up to LeBron and his crap.
Yeah, in the game, basically LeBron, why is LeBron standing over him while he's on the floor waiting for him to get up being like, what's up, Rook?
Because LeBron's so tough that he punks 19-year-old rookies.
Yeah, that's real tough. I love the fact that Ntilikina got up, pushed him out of the way, and kept walking, and then Cantor got into LeBron's face and called him what do you call him, like a queen?
Princess, I think.
Princess, and said, you're the queen of New York, you're not the king of New York.
Yeah.
Why is LeBron the king of New York?
He's
He
not.
doesn't play here.
He just says he is.
Yeah,
He calls himself the king on a daily basis. So he probably calls himself. He goes to Starbucks. I'm the king of Starbucks.
I'm the king of Waffle House. King of Waffle House is here. Yeah.
So cool. So cool.
But
By the way, ESPN was saying that LeBron is gonna come to New York if he leaves Cleveland. No, he's not. And-
ESPN just trolls the Knicks.
Yeah.
They hate the Knicks. The power rankings every week. The Knicks get disrespected in the ESPN power rankings. But whatever. The Knicks are 8-6. I don't give a crap about anything else.
Yeah. So they won one and lost one since last episode. Should have won both. They were up by 19, I believe, against the Cavs.
Both games, we pretty much had the opposite games because the Knicks basically they look great against the Cavs in the first 3 quarters. They had a lot of teamwork, energy. They were doing everything, and then they did the exact and they lost the game obviously. And then in Utah, the first 3 quarters, the Knicks looked like crap all 3 quarters, and then they came back and won the game. So you had almost like the exact opposite games.
Also, I told you I wasn't going to do a Lance apology episode. The Knicks lost to the Cavs by 3, and Lance had a plus-minus of -14.
Lance Thomas, I have to say, I don't whatever you want to say about him, I think he's been playing pretty well. People gave a lot of crap because they thought Lance should have been on the floor at the end of the Cavs game. It worked in the Charlotte game. What you're going to do is not going to work every night. Lance is solid for defense. You could have easily put McDermott out there. McDermott might have done a better job of chasing what's his name around? Korver around. But at the same time, I don't begrudge Hornacek for trying something that had worked previously.
Speaking of defense, Frank, 6 steals.
Yeah. I like what he's doing on defense. You know what? So Hornacek after Horny after the Utah game he said something about the law, paraphrasing him, that basically the rookies come in the league with really knowing defense, having a real knack for defense, which most rookies do not have. He still needs to learn the offensive end of the game, but most rookies are the opposite. And so he feels like it's nice to step ahead in defense.
Yeah, I mean, look at Ball. He got sat the fourth quarter of the last 2 games because he can't guard anybody.
Yeah, versus our rookie who doesn't start gets major fourth quarter minutes in every game lately because he can play a lockdown defense.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Cantor is really starting to get exposed.
Well, the thing is, I like the fourth. I like having KP at center and having a smaller lineup for end of games. Cantor serves a nice role throughout the rest of the game, though.
Yeah.
He's. I have to say, Cantor gives effort. I don't think he's quite as bad as I thought he'd be, but he's not good. Obviously.
He's bad on defense, but it does look like he's trying. Unlike where sometimes it looked like Amari was just thinking about what soup he's going to make for dinner that night.
Well, they said about Cantor. Cantor is a player that could be that efficient on offense that can make up for his terrible defense, and to a certain extent, with his offensive rebounding and how good he is on the offense at times, he makes up for some of his bad play.
Yeah,
I think he's generally a plus in the court. I just don't want him necessarily out there in big fourth quarter minutes.
Well, I mean, his PER, I'm going to piss some stats heads off by not saying PER. His PER is 24.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. That's all-star level.
So let's talk briefly about the Cleveland game. And let's move forward fast. We only have 30 minutes, Jay.
Yes.
So I guess early on, it looked like the Knicks had everything going. I think at one point, LeBron was holding the ball, getting ready to to figure out what he wanted to do, and Timmy swiped the ball out of his hands and went in for a dunk.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was going great. So why can't the Knicks guard the 3-point line? I mean, I guess this is an issue for both games and just generally the whole season. The Knicks are been really bad about leaving guys open. Their defensive strategy seems to be hopefully you'll miss your open 3-point shot.
Yeah, they would have got blown out of that Cleveland game if Cleveland shot a little better. I mean, Cleveland shot pretty poorly considering all the open looks they were getting.
They got so many open looks from 3. I do think also, by the way, I think the Knicks should be shooting more 3s. The Knicks are near the bottom of the league in just 3-point attempts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there aren't that many guys that can shoot 3s, but it's such a part of the game that the Knicks they got to work it more into their offense.
Well, look at the Cleveland game. Cleveland took 20 more 3s. That's a huge discrepancy.
You can't operate in the league. I know you want the Knicks to shoot only good 3s. And I'm not saying the Knicks should try to take try to take guarded to just take bad 3s or throw up shots that don't make sense. But you could work your offense in a way where you could kick it out to more 3-point shooters. I mean, KP did that a little bit in the Utah game, and in the Cleveland game, he started kicking the ball out a little more. But you got to make that more of your offense. A guy like Doug McDermott is such a good 3-point shooter. You got to make sure you got to find him in the corner.
Yeah, it's not that Cleveland shot that much better from 3. They only shot 3.5% better, but they took so many more. That was the difference in the game.
I mean, one of the things I noticed, I noticed is more in the Utah game than the Cleveland game. But I think the Knicks, Hornacek had said to the guys, we need to be more aggressive about going to the basket. And so what happens is, Lance Thomas gets the ball behind the 3-point line, and instead of taking the open 3 he has, he drives to the basket. McDermott gets the ball behind the basket. He drives to the basket. And there is times to drive to the basket, and there are times when you got to shoot the open 3. And the Knicks are I feel like the players are kind of forcing it a little bit driving. I want them to drive to the basket, but I want them to take more open 3s too, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I just take whatever is the good shot.
Yeah, I just think sometimes, if you're open, just take the goddamn shot.
I would also like to see Frank not be so hesitant. He looks like he wants nothing to do with shooting the ball.
Yeah, so I have to say about Frank is that people are calling him at the start. He's not. He shouldn't be starting yet.
No.
I like him finishing off games. he's too hesitant on offense. It's weird. Both those games, when Frank was in there in the second quarter, he looked kind of like crap, basically. And then when he came back for the fourth quarter, he looked a lot better in both games. And I don't know what happens the first time he's out there, but he does seem nervous. And he does seem like he wants to try too hard to distribute the ball. And it kind of like he needs to break down the defense more on offense.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, he's 19.
No, I want to say he's locked in on his career. We know his ceiling already. At 19, he's ruined.
I went to a Knicks forum, and they're saying, like, no, wasn't it our Facebook page? Somebody was calling Frank a bust already.
Yeah, but that's one of the guys from our Brink page who's just trolling us. You know he's trolling us.
Yeah.
Dude, one thing I would like to say is that, so for whatever reason, ESPN's box score of the Cleveland game had Dotson at it had Dotson said that Dotson had played like 14 minutes in the Cleveland game. And I was like, that's weird. Like, I was looking at the scores of the game. I had watched it on DVR, so I didn't check the box score at the end of the game. And I'm like, it's weird. I watched the whole game. I thought Dotson was out there for like a minute. But like it says he played 14 minutes, and his stat line's all 0-0-0. I was like, I guess Dotson's not that good. And I'm thinking about it, and basically they corrected the box score at some point, and it says he only played 1 minute.
Yeah.
But I swear, I went to bed that night being like, am I like racist? I can't tell like one player from another player of the non-white players. Like, what the hell's wrong with me?
We should also.
Turns out I was correct. I knew what Dotson looks like, and I was not wrong.
We should also give Hardaway credit. He had a really good game.
Yeah, he had a really good 2 games actually.
Yeah, both games.
Do you want to do your Hardaway apology show?
No.
What, are you kidding me? He's been playing. And since those first 3 terrible games, I think he's averaging 20 points a game.
He was dreadful 3 games ago.
Against Sacramento, we were up by 40, but yeah, we really needed his points.
Well, he was still bad.
He wasn't that bad.
He had like 4 points. He had 4 points on like 2 for 11 shooting.
You know he does other things besides shoot? He gets rebounds now. He gets assists.
Well,
against Cleveland, he had a double-double.
Yeah, and against the Jazz, he had 6 assists.
Yeah, and 6 rebounds. He's looking really good. I mean, he's not looking. I'm not saying like Nick's got a deal on this contract. I'm not saying like he's going to be an all-star, but I'm saying we're all a little happier about this contract now.
Yeah,
we're all a little happy about having Hardaway. I mean, like maybe at the end of the day, maybe the Knicks could have got him for a little less. I don't know if they really could because I get the whole basically what Scott Perry said. You pretty much have to overpay to get a guy off a restricted contract.
Not that much overpay.
Well, I mean, in fairness, like let's say you thought the Hawks were going to match something in the 50s. Well, if you go to 60, maybe they're like, maybe we'll still match. You have to blow them out of the
let
water
them overpay.
Well, you know what? If you want to get a good young player, and Hardaway appears to be a good young player now, he's without Hardaway. I mean, he's a nice option to have in the team and a good guy to build around, like a good guy to add to the KP building.
I'm just bitter because he's getting $17 million a year and Robert Covington's going to get $15 million a year.
Oh, Robert Covington, the ink dries, he comes back down to earth. He shot 40% last year, he's shooting 50% this year. He will come back to earth. He will regress.
Do you know he's hit the most threes in the East this season? And he's shooting the 4th best
That's really
percentage.
Interesting, Jay. This is a Knicks podcast. Who gives a shit?
So, okay, here's something I wanted to bring up.
By the way, would you be as annoyed about the Hardaway contract if we didn't have Noah?
I would be annoyed, but not as annoyed. But
and
back-to-back years of that.
And do you feel better about the Hardaway? Do you feel there's a chance that Hardaway pretty much lives up to his contract?
No.
Really?
I think he's too inconsistent.
I mean, if he puts up 19, 20 points a game, gets like 3 or 4 assists a game, gets 4 or 5 rebounds a game, they said I think he's like the 16th highest paid shooting guard in the league, or 15th highest paid shooting guard in the league.
A lot of bad contracts out there.
I mean, that's probably true. But as far as for the market for starting shooting guards, he's getting about if he plays this way going forward, he's getting about what he's worth. And you really begrudge he basically won he was a huge factor in us winning the Jazz game.
He was.
And a huge factor in us having a shot against Cleveland. And it really helps to have a second really scoring option if KP's off. KP had 2 games.
If I don't see 4.2 for 11 games like once or twice a week, then I will agree with you. Right now, I think he's too inconsistent.
Well, he's not going to shoot 60% from the field. He's not going to be Cantor from he's going to miss some shots.
Well,
But
there's a difference between missing shots and 2 for 11. Like he was 7 for 15 against the Jazz. That's fine.
But if you're a guy that shoots like 45% in the season, it's a solid year. And especially if you add the 3-point shooting, you'll have a decent effective field goal percentage. I think his effective field goal percentage last year was higher than anyone in the Knicks.
I am saying that my decision is still not made on him yet.
It's a 30-minute show. Let's move the hell on.
You are the most reactionary. He has one bad game. You're going to be crapping all over him.
Apologize for him and get a tattoo on your chest. Here's a question for you. So, we talked about Covington. So I just thought it was interesting. So Cantor, he had said that before he joined the Thunder, he used to be very friendly with his opponents, like before games, like shook hands, whatever. And Westbrook told him basically, they're your enemy, don't be friendly with them. And basically he adopted that, like, don't be friendly with your enemy. Do you like when players, I guess it's not that important of a topic to ask you, but do you like when players are like friendly with the other team, or do you think old school, they're your enemy?
I love when players hate each other.
I love that too.
I think it makes the games better. I feel like I'm watching a competition when they don't like each other. Like when they're friends, I'm just like, I feel more like I'm watching a game than a competition.
I felt like Cantor does not like LeBron James and really wanted to beat him. I like the Knicks did not like him. They really wanted to beat him. They didn't beat them, but I feel like they really want to beat their opponents, and I like that.
Yeah, it's much more exciting when you could feel the tension of the game. What I wanted to talk about is the last 2 games Porzingis did not shoot well. Not so coincidentally, he was complaining about his elbow and saying it might need surgery after the season. Do you think that the elbow is bothering him and affecting his shot, or did he just have a couple off games?
By the way, we're halfway through our show. I think he had a couple off games. It looked like in the Cleveland game, they were smothering him on defense, and he took a lot of shots where he wasn't squaring up. Same thing happened in the Utah game. He took some ill-advised shots where the Utah's defense was pretty good. Utah looks like they play very solid defense. And he wasn't getting the same looks he was getting in other games. Also, I felt like in previous games, like say the Sacramento game, the Knicks just got KP the ball in better position, closer to the basket where he could do more faster. The Knicks in the last 2 games have been getting KP the ball where he's further out in the block and he has to try to do more and get worse shots, basically.
Right.
You need a point guard to get him the ball in better position. You get him the ball 10 feet from the basket, it's going in. You get him the ball 20 feet from the basket or 15 feet from the basket, it's easier for the defense to guard him. And also, when you're just kind of throwing it into him and like everyone sees this coming, they can double team him easier. I don't know. There has to be if the ball is moving better, then he's going to score more because everything kind of flows together. And they need to get him some more easier baskets as well. Like get him on the run. I don't think the elbow thing is a major issue.
Good.
Are you concerned?
A little.
Okay.
We will use this moment to say we will be right back.
Are you going to the potty, as my kids do?
No, we're back.
Okay. Is there a commercial that I missed?
Yeah.
Jay, also KP did an interview on I think the Michael Kay show on ESPN Radio, and he said it's really nice this season. The team is really buying into Hornacek's system because they really feel like it's his system. Or they're running the offense and defense that he wants. So it's a lot easier to buy into the offensive scheme, especially.
Yeah.
Did at any point did they say, "You mean Phil Jackson sucked"? Yeah, Phil Jackson sucked.
I mean, people were trying to defend the triangle, but obviously same coach. Team looks completely different and much better now.
I mean, it's not the triangle. It's just that you can't have a team president coach from afar. If Phil Jackson came here and was the coach and implemented the triangle, I'm sure it would have gone a lot better.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had a coach that wasn't really familiar with the triangle, and Phil's like, "Coach the triangle." He's like, "But I don't really know the coach the triangle."
I mean, even if he tries to know it, he's not going to know it as well, and the team's not going to really believe he's into this. As you got to basically find a coach that you believe in and let the coach. I mean, everyone wants in their job autonomy. They want a guy someone to believe in them and going to kind of run with things in their job. They don't want a guy being like, "Oh, you're going to coach that way? Oh, you're going to do that? Oh, let me just put my head in again. You're going to do that?" No one wants a micromanager, and that was part of the problem with Phil. Like, he micromanaged on the coaching aspect, and then was in Wyoming during when he was supposed to be like GMing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought it was interesting that like basically KP basically just voiced basically one of the things that was just a huge issue last year. I'm glad it's working well. So let's talk about the Cleveland. Anything else you want to add about the Cleveland game?
No.
Michael Beasley, do you think he's still in America or he's been deported somewhere?
I think the coach has realized the Beasley experiment is over.
By the way, I loved your on your player power rankings. You said Noah Hornacek has said that he wants to ease Noah back in. 2 did not plays is the perfect amount of minutes for him.
So yeah, I did the Knicks roster power rankings. You can find that on the New York Knicks podcast.com. Also, there's a good article by Luke Ambrose, so you can check that out too. We're adding more content. We're adding more content.
Okay.
NY Knicks podcast on Twitter, on Instagram.
Support us on Patreon. Can you get that in after our 30 minutes, Jay?
No, that's part of the whole point is do a 30-minute show. We got to fit it all in. I could sense your panic. I really can.
Okay. I am. So, Jay, let me ask you. Who do you think there's one person out there that wants Joakim Noah to play more than anyone? Do you know who it is?
Somebody out there who wants Noah to play more than anyone?
Yeah, well, someone, not more than anyone. I mean, someone that really wants Noah to get playing time now that he's back.
Noah.
Not even Noah. There's someone that's even a bigger supporter for Noah out there. Not his parents, not Noah.
Is he on the team?
Yeah, I'll just tell you who it is.
Okay.
Kyle O'Quinn. Because Kyle O'Quinn has looked like shit the last 2 games. It's almost like Kyle O'Quinn's like, nope, okay, Noah's back, take my playing time.
Yeah, I found that a little weird. I mean, players slump a little bit. Could just be a coincidence.
He went back to Kyle O'Quinn of like making like some of his stupid passes, his fouls when he's not supposed to be fouling. He did a bunch of bad things in the last 2 games that were very like, Kyle O'Quinn the last couple of years where you were kind of where he'd come out there, show 1 or 2 like good glimpses, and then annoy the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And Kyle O'Quinn has looked great this season up to the last couple games. So I'm hoping it's just a slump and not him just being like, okay, Noah, come on back. But I do see Noah getting playing time because of how Kyle Quinn's playing.
Yeah.
Utah game.
So yeah, pretty much the opposite of the Cleveland game.
Are you? What'd you think of Donovan Mitchell? He looked pretty good.
He did. I mean, I'm not going to get too worked up over one game.
No. He's not a point guard, so he would have been the ideal person for the Knicks to get.
Right.
I mean, Utah doesn't start him as a point guard. I think he's more of a shooting guard, and we really need a point guard, and he doesn't play 6 steal a night lockdown defense like Ntilikina. So
exactly.
But he looked pretty good. So one thing I noticed in the game was KP. Why can everyone that's like a foot shorter than him shoot over him? Did you notice like every guy, like anybody was out like near the 20 feet from the basket, they would all just shoot right over KP?
Well, I think he didn't get close enough to them.
Well, clearly that's how they shoot over him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the Knicks think the 3-point line is the out of bounds line.
He said in the interview with Michael Kay that he's worried. He was worried about guys going around him. I think maybe in the Cleveland game.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to like. He's fast enough that if a guy goes around him, he can come back and like get a block, or someone who can help him. But he's got to go out on 3-point shooters and not let. You can't let Rubio shoot over you.
He just got to study Kevin Durant because Durant was like that his first couple seasons, and now he's an amazing defender.
I don't know if he's like worried about. I mean, you don't have to foul the guy, but your arms are so long, you're going to change someone's shot. Just get a little closer. It'll make a huge difference in our 3-point defense.
Yeah.
But everyone seems a little bit lost in the 3-point defense. I think that will get better because I think they're going to review film and try to make that better.
Yeah.
What other highlights do you like for this game?
There wasn't. I mean, Timmy was pretty much the highlight of the game. Nobody else really stood out to me that much.
Yeah, no, I would say you're right. I mean, like I was watching the game. I felt the first 3 quarters were so depressing. I felt the Knicks weren't moving the ball. I couldn't believe the Knicks were like within 5 points at the start of the 4th quarter. But in the game, one of those games that like felt like the Knicks, it's a close game, but it feels like the Knicks are down by like 20 and there's no shot of winning the game. I was shocked they actually came back and won this game.
Yeah.
What which is nice because it's like the opposite of the Cleveland game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are almost out of time.
How do you know? You don't have the clock.
I can see how long the show is.
We're at 23 minutes, Jay. We got some time to talk, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. Like sing. Why don't you sing Swing Nothings to me?
I wanted to ask everyone to leave, to subscribe on iTunes.
You could do this after the 30 minutes are up.
No,
Jay.
it's all within 30 minutes.
Oh, I thought we just talked Knicks content for 30 minutes, and then you do your Sweet Nothings after.
No, the whole show is 30 minutes.
Well, now we're wasting a lot of time, aren't we, Jay?
Yeah, because I was trying to get to business, and you just keep interrupting.
You know who actually has been playing pretty well? You left out Courtney Lee.
Okay, we'll skip all the important stuff.
Let's skip all the. Okay, please subscribe on iTunes. It actually really helps us a lot if you hit subscribe as opposed to just downloading. We love when you download, but you hit subscribe, and apparently that factors into their rankings, and it'd be really helpful for us if you could hit subscribe.
Right. Our competitor who just broke into the top 200 sports podcasts, I think is only a little bit ahead of us, and it would be really cool if we could push them back out and replace them.
Yes, we would like to catch other people.
Yes.
What else? So Knicks got coming up. We got the Raptors coming up, and then they got the Clippers. How do you feel about those two games?
I think the Knicks could definitely beat the Clippers. I think the Raptors is going to be a tough one. Let's say 1-1.
Yeah, I'd be very happy with 1-1. The schedule gets pretty rough from here.
Yeah, well, I figured because it was pretty easy to begin with.
Well, you got Raptors, Clippers, back to Raptors, then the Hawks, which is basically an easy night.
Yeah.
But then you go to Houston, Portland, and then Miami. That's the rest of November. That's a rough rest of November.
Yeah, it's not great.
Knicks got to get one. They got to win one of two from Toronto. You can't just get swept by Toronto.
Yeah.
I feel like this team. So I feel like this team has entered the phase where they're not a bottom 20 team bottom 10 team in the league. I think we're 11 to 20. We're in that range. And I feel like we should be able to stomp on the bottom teams, but we should be able to compete with the top teams and every once in a while steal a game from the top 10 teams.
Yeah.
Which I think is not. By the way, also people were saying like upset we lost to Cleveland. In fairness to Cleveland was the odds-on favorite to go to the finals in the East. So it's not the worst thing. It's not the worst team they've lost to.
No, it's not. It's just being up by 19 hurts.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's what like the Jazz fans will say. They were up by a lot, and they should have basically beaten the Knicks.
So, an around the league thing, I thought you might find this funny if you haven't heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kevin Durant said there's no such thing as loyalty because the Warriors the Thunder let a rookie wear his old number. This is not an Onion article. The guy.
Wait, say it again.
Durant,
So Durant, who left OKC,
right, is
mad.
Like
you should have retired my number, even though I left through free agency.
Yes.
I am surprised they didn't give the number away immediately.
He said there's no such thing as loyalty when he left the team.
Yeah, you're like, you left. How is there? Wow.
You guys should have removed all the number 35 seat numbers. You guys should have taken number 35 out of if the score is 35, it should just show blanks until the score goes up to 36.
It's like Durant going to cash his paycheck, which I know they go direct deposit probably, or however, or truckloads of money. But him like cashing his paycheck and being like, "I just play for the love of the game, $1 million check."
Right.
I mean, it's all about the kids and the fans. That'll be $300 my autograph.
Also, did you see Embiid's stat line from yesterday?
Are we really making this another team podcast? Yes, Philly. Yes, he's amazing. That's great. I'm sure he'll be injured soon. Well, who gives a crap? We're not the 76er podcast.
We do around the league stuff.
Yeah, around the league, and we'll report Embiid's injury as soon as it happens.
What did we learn today?
By the way, in the Jazz game, where we learn. We have 3 minutes to go, Jay. Did you feel like the Jazz got 37 blocks in that game? They were without what's his name,
Gobert.
Without Gobert, and they blocked every other shot the Knicks took. I felt like in the first 3 quarters. Did you not feel that way?
See, that's what got me so mad. I figured without Gobert, this should have been just a romp in the park. And
they had 10 blocks. That's a lot of blocks
That's a
against
lot of
without
blocks.
having Gobert.
Mhm.
It was unbelievable. Like every time the Knicks drove to a basket, it was like they drove the ball into the guy's hand. The guy would be yawning, and the ball they accidentally blocked the shot.
Yeah, that was not so much fun.
Do you think the Knicks will? So do you think the Knicks will get better on 3-point shooting? Like the Raptors shoot threes really well. They have some tough opponents with that. They're gonna play Houston again soon. Also, the Clippers can shoot threes.
Everyone in
get
the league
better
can
for
shoot
this?
threes, pretty much.
What?
Almost every team in the league can shoot threes.
Yeah. Why don't you think the Knicks should be shooting more threes? I know I made this point earlier, but we have 30 minutes. I can discuss this 8 or 9 times.
Yes, they should.
Okay. What else do you want to what do you want to wrap up with, Jay? We have a minute 15 seconds to go.
We have iTunes reviews.
Oh my God, we're not going to read those right now.
Okay.
I thought you were going to give us Knicks content. I want to see more dots in this week.
It's an entire show wrapped up in a half hour. I don't think you understood the concept.
I know, but we have a minute more. You should discuss more Knicks.
Okay. It looks like that Hornacek has decided on a 9-man rotation, which means
I think Beasley decided he didn't want to be in the rotation.
Yeah, Beasley's out, Baker's
Hernan.
out, Hernan Gomez is out, Dodson looks like he's out.
Hey, Baker, we'll give you $4 million a year. What do I have to do? Literally nothing.
Right, just keep that bowl cut going and wear a nice suit.
Yes, yeah. When we want ice cream, you deliver the ice cream.
So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I feel good about the rotation. I do expect Noah will get some minutes. I do want to see Dotson get some minutes, but I like what they're doing right now. I also like the fact that he's not going with a Derek Fisher. Okay, first string out, second string in. Like we're moving everyone and bringing everyone. Like I like the fact that he kind of like slowly rotates guys in.
Well, I also like it better than Fisher. I think at one point was having like 13.
Hey Jay, just to interrupt you. Could you shut the hell up? The show's over.
Okay. Fisher had a 13-man rotation at one point, which I did not like.
Fisher played all 15 guys like every quarter.
Yeah. Okay, so that is our mini episode. Let us know what you think of it.
Yes. If you give us positive reviews, we'll probably do more of these. If you're negative, well, then again, if you didn't like this episode, then you may not want another one. So what's the difference?
NY Knicks Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to write for the show.
Courtney Lee's not actually injured.
He's not. If you want to write for the show, you could email us. We are looking for game recaps or anything else you want to write. We've had some good stuff. Actually, just got another article in today, so I'll have to post that tomorrow.
By the way, just 1 second. The downside, by the way, of winning is my son now has been into the Knicks. He wants to go to a Knicks game, and I can't take him I can't even find a way to take him to a game without paying like $100 a ticket.
Yeah, I just got an email that said like half-price tickets starting at $66, and I'm like, how is? There used to be $10 and $20 tickets. How is half price $66 now?
Well, I got to do a day game for him also, and so I'm always restricted what games I can take him to because you can't really stay up late.
Yeah.
But yeah, the expensive. And even the $66 tickets are the worst tickets in the place, and then you get ones that are slightly better than terrible, and then they add all the fees. You're at like $100, like for the $100 for him to barely recognize the players.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I hate to get to the game and find out he's like farsighted. I mean, he's nearsighted.
So
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back on Sunday with our regular length show.
Yeah, and we've already gotten through the Jazz and the Cleveland game, so we'll have a lot more to talk about, Jay.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Everybody.
You seem like you were in a complete panic that entire episode.
I'm being timed, Jay.